This is Walt from the SaaS engineering team, and thrilled to give you an end-to-end demo of how to use Accelerate to win business. First, you got to win the customer interest. There's several tools. What I'm going to go through today is X-Ray. Major differentiator for Nutanix is our architecture, both in terms of performance, it's off the charts, and also resiliency. X-Ray is a tool originally used for proof of concepts, but is a great tool for you to show those 2 points, performance and resilience. Second is Test Drive, and Test Drive 3.0 now is being launched at .next, so it is in the solution booth there. And look at it, it's actually on the web now. And what Test Drive does is allow yourself to demo to a customer all the different products, but also better yet is engage the prospect and they can register and typically get 2 hours to play with the product. Our UX is so good, we're comfortable in actually just providing instances out there and just let people play. But that between the two, it tends to help win that customer interest. Next, the customer saying, okay, let's get a proposal going, is gather requirements. So Collector, and we'll demo that, is a really rich tool to go off and grab data from existing data centers. Maybe it's vCenter, maybe it's Hyper-V, etc. But iterate, grab data that's then used for requirements over in Sizer to actually finalize that solution. And we'll go through this then as an end-to-end demo. Okay, I'd like to show Test Drive. As mentioned, it is being launched here at .next, the 3.0 version. It's really cool. So let's launch it. I already logged in before. Yeah, so I already logged in before, and it is so it's not asking for my credentials, usually it does, but yeah, it would then allow me to either schedule a test drive or access now. So if you're a prospect, you would log in via your email. If you're a partner or a existing customer, you could log in via My Nutanix. But then you get this screen, and you can schedule for the future or access now, which I'll do right here. And it's pretty snappy here. And so I had just already connected one. But there's, first of all, let's go through the test drives. There's organized by solutions, organized by products. So Modernize Your Data Center has AOS, AHV, self-service, simplified database operations, NDB. But yeah, you see all sorts of things like data management, might be files and objects, about Citrix, etc. I won't go through all these, but you get the idea. A lot of different solutions, and it covers all the different products. But yeah, we're on the cloud platform, so we'll go ahead and connect to that. Typically about 2-hour sessions here. It'll vary a little bit. But what you're going to get is it's a live instance of these products basically out in the cloud. And so then, yeah, it's loading. Takes a second. And what you're seeing then is the actual Prism interface there. And yeah, you can start playing with this and going through that as far as that goes. There is a test drive menu then to a guided tour then of the various things like setting up things and such like that. So won't go through that, but it's a phenomenal facility to demo yourself. And I always like to do is a call to action. Get a customer interested and then tell them, hey, just go on the web and reserve a spot and start playing yourself. It gets them very interested. With that then, we'll go on over to X-Ray. Okay, I'd like to now talk about X-Ray. And X-Ray has been around for several years. It's been used for proof of concepts to really bring out the story of our architecture, both performance and resiliency. There's a bunch of different X-Ray kind of tests. It could be for HCI, it can be for databases, all sorts of good stuff. But yeah, you can go X-Ray there and see that, and there are results against that as well. So let's say HCI benchmark is a common one actually. You can just look at results here, and this is one's done in the past, but you see the high performance kinds of things. It goes through all the details too, and ultimately you can go ahead and create a customized report and have the cover page all nice and fancy. Create the PDF. Takes a moment here, but and lo and behold, here is the PDF with the X-ray report. So a very nice facility for you to highlight again our architecture. We're also then introducing a community site. It should be available in the next quarter or so for partners, and I can do, because there's been over 2,000 reports created, and this is kind of a search facility that I could, like here, HCI benchmarks, and I could select certain platforms and OSs, etc. But I'll just go ahead and search for just HCI, and just even there's 813 of them. But once again, here's something that's pretty darn recent, XC 750 at Dell. But at any rate, so here is that result. And in the community, it's anonymized, so the customer name and all that kind of good stuff is gone. But it's available then to you to show to the customer the strength of our product. So with that, we'll move on into the next one. Okay, next we'll hit Collector. So Collector starts as a collection tool, get data from the data center. So actually it has to be run by the various admins, customer admins themselves. It is available on Windows, it is available on Mac, actually available on Linux as far as that goes. It'll support collecting data from all sorts of kind of clusters. Could be vCenter, our own Prism, Hyper-V, ONTAP, CIFS from NetApp, but also SQL Server. It's just brand new as far as this version. But we'll stay with vCenter. I've got one ready to go here, so I'll go ahead and connect. Okay, this vCenter has quite a few data centers, 48. We won't collect them all. Let's just collect the we'll go with ESX primary, yes, and then go ahead and collect it. It has 87 VMs, and it does take a moment. Okay, we got our data. Collector itself is a very nice tool in the sense of it shows what's happening in cluster, the host summary, the VM summary, and such. Very nice graphics. Is exactly what's going on there. But what we really care about and just have the customer do is either send you a collection file, which has lots and lots of information, or just a final Excel file. They can mask, and what this talk about is like hide the VM names, anonymous there. Just say no skip masking, and it'll download, and then what they have then is a collection is a file, Excel file, which they can email to you, which will then be used when you go over to Sizer. So that's it for Collector, and we'll move on to Sizer. Okay, now I'm going to go into Sizer and actually create the solution using the collection we did with the Collector, but also then I'll add some things into, say, an Azure cluster. You can do multiple clusters with Sizer. So Sizer has been around, as I mentioned, over 1 million sizings, and it's very, very robust. But let's go ahead and get started. So, okay, create a new solution. Let's just say it's, so that, I don't have an opportunity. I do have an opportunity. So for you as a partner, you can do is enter the deal reg. Coming up very soon, I would say the next month, is actually we're going to post here for you in the pull down all the opportunities that you have at your partner org has access to. So it makes it even easier than typing it. And because I type it, I have to validate it, and sure enough, it's okay. This is actually important, is the scenario objectives, and just because that's saved for prosperity. So later, if the customer has, what was the inputs or requirements, it's all there. Okay, so we're going to create that. Now, we want to do this two parts of Sizer. One on this side on workloads is all the demands. You can create workloads. We'll do that in a second, but actually very, very nice and is use Collector. So we'll go ahead and do that, is go ahead then and upload that file that we got. Okay, now we have this file. Let's grab that guy. Again, that was from the customer. So really, there's some filters here. I could just bring in everything that's powered on or just powered on, but let's say I want both. I could do performance or configuration. Let's go with config, provision consumed. And then this is do I want every single VM to be a separate workload or one of our profiles? But let's just go with that. So I'm going to upload that, and what that's going to bring in all that data and then actually create the workloads as you see here. So now we're ready to, that's half the battle there. You've gotten good requirements from collectors brought into Sizer. That's the workload side. Now it's time to do the solution, and in other words, the hardware itself that's going to run that. So you want kind of, this is demand, and then we're going to deal with supply side here. Now we've made a major innovation in the last few months with cluster libraries. You could always do automatic, you could do manual, but you had to really know what you were doing on the manual side, and auto didn't have enough filters, if you will. So we've come up with this notion of cluster templates. And so let's say I do know I want it on NX. I've already defined templates for myself here. I'm going to apply that. Okay, so what has that done? It's saying, all the different parameters. It's directing the auto engine, sizing engine, what to do. What these models, within a certain frequency, so many cores, and the like, as you see here. And a lot of different dials and buttons which we won't go into, but these are reusable templates. I applied it once, I'm there, I just go ahead and hit apply here, and the sizing will start to happen here. And sizing in progress, it does take a few seconds here to get there. Okay, so we got our sizing here. It has an 8530 and 6 nodes and the like. And it's very, very nice actually. 6 nodes, and you still have a lot of utilization there. But let's say the customer says, well, darn it, I have a certain model in mind. What you can do is still use your library, just like we had here, but then use a harder template. And so here it's kind of taking the best of manual. Hey, I can specify very certain things. And here's all the information right here. So details of that model. And then once again, go ahead and size with that. Okay, so we're back here. We got a sizing. It's changed a little bit. It was just a little different model there. But you see there, that's all good. Let's just add one more thing just to kind of make it more interesting. So that's one cluster. Say we're all about hybrid here. I got some other workloads I want to put on Azure. Well, no problem at all. Just go ahead and add the workloads. Let's say they're not totally sure what they're looking for, but they know they need some workloads running, and we'll just Azure server vert and server virtualization, and let's just say, it's 500 small VMs, and there's profiles there. But once again, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll put it in a separate cluster. We'll call it Azure. And now we're ready for sizing that. Once again here, we'll go ahead and use the notion of cluster libraries here. So workload's been saved, that's all good. And so I defined an Azure library here. And it's what models I can have and details that I want and things like that. Directions to the sizing engine. And once again, sizing will be done then. We have 2 clusters, cluster 1 and one Azure cluster, which will be on the Azure side. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what that solution looks like here. It does take a few seconds here. Okay, so I got it all sized. One cluster is the cluster 1, the 8035, the other is Azure, all set there. Let's say the customer is just totally in. Okay, give me a quote. I can do a budgetary quote, and then you could see it in Excel, and then you apply your expected discount to get to net price. or their net price, and then or I can generate a frontline quote, which would then send it to your distributor. So I'll go ahead and do that. And what pops up is, again, that opportunity, but the licensing. And I could, if I want to, is go ahead and not only generate that quote, I could change the licensing if I wish. But that's pretty typical, so I'll go ahead and do that. So I'll go ahead and generate this quote. Okay, so we've created the quote. Yeah, as a partner, you won't see the quote itself, but it did go to the distributor. I have access to Frontline, so I went over here and then actually show that quote. It comes over at list price, and they apply the appropriate discounts. But you have all the details there for what was needed on the on-premise, and then also the in the cloud in Azure. So with that, we've done an end-to-end from test drive and X-ray to collecting the data, building that out in Sizer, and adding some more workloads over in the hybrid cloud. Hope that helps. Thank you very much.